Hello, my name is Ed, and welcome to the Rot Gut Review. Today, I am reviewing a certain bourbon that, if marketing is to be believed, is an incredibly rare and collectible bourbon. It is one rare stash from a certain fighter named Dustin Poirier. Now, there's been a lot of interest in this bourbon recently, particularly from the MMA community and a certain group of homeless cats I know. Shout out to all you feral felines. And now that I finally have my bottle, it's time to find out if Rare Stash lives up to its promise, or if it's just another product of the bourbon boom hype machine. Let's hit the intro. So as I mentioned, this is Dustin Poirier's bourbon. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Like that's the original French pronunciation. Of course, Dustin Poirier is famous for being an MMA fighter. Another MMA fighter with a whiskey, right? You know, we had Tiger Thing, we got Proper 12, now we got Rare Stash. And of course, longtime viewers of the show will know I've always been more of a boxing fan than an MMA guy. However, I do know Dustin Poirier. I've seen some of his fights because, you know, I'd watch a little MMA back in the day, you know, in addition to boxing. And it seems like dude is a great guy in and out of the ring, you know. A lot of these fighters and celebrities in general, you know, tend to get up to some bad behavior. Seems like Dustin Poirier is a little bit more on the level. Also, apparently he broke Conor McGregor's leg, which I don't wish harm on anyone, but if anyone deserved to get their leg broken, it was Conor McGregor. You know, I've never actually seen the footage of that. I wonder if that's on YouTube. Oh. What? Oh, no! Oh! Things aren't supposed to bend that way. Alright, but weird, bendy, gross legs aside, Dustin Poirier's Rare Stash Bourbon is a blend of bourbon whiskeys. And here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. It's $100 a pop. If you're releasing a new bourbon into the market at the $100 price point, oh boy, you better be releasing something good. Because you can get really, really good bourbons for a lot cheaper, at least here in the United States. There are some fantastic bourbons at, you know, $30, $50, $60. So if you're gonna release your stuff at $100, oh boy, you better be making something fantastic. Now, since this is a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys, we can safely assume that they're taking barrels from multiple different places. What they say on their website is, after unearthing limited barrels of straight bourbon whiskey, we've artfully created a limited edition collector bourbon that's meant to enjoy. Whether you've landed the job, reunited with old friends, blah, blah, marketing stuff. Now, interestingly here, they talk up the rare, limited edition, collector's item, all that buzzword stuff. They really don't tell us anything about the whiskey itself. They don't actually tell us where they got it from, except that it's limited barrels of straight bourbon. Okay? Where? From where? Like, what made them rare, I guess, is my question. They don't tell us what distilleries it's from, what the mash bill is. They don't really tell us anything, except that we're supposed to believe this is rare and limited. So with that little amount of information, we really don't know why this is supposed to be rare and collectible. I guess it's collectible because they're planning on doing multiple batches. But if you're going to do that, why wouldn't you put like batch 1 on the label, you know, like everyone else does? And also, what makes it rare? Because if you mean it's rare, like it's hard to find, I guess, because you're selling it on Reserve Bar, and they don't ship to a lot of states. Like Wisconsin, for example. They don't ship here. So I gotta thank my guy, Eli Cook, who got this bottle for me. My man Eli is awesome. He's great. He got this bottle to me. Thank you so much, Eli. I'm declaring you the very first Lord of the Rat Gut. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I don't care how limited or rare a whiskey is. I don't. The only thing I really care about is how drinkable a whiskey is. And if you're going to be dropping $100 on a whiskey, you better hope that that is going to be a hell of a drinkable goddamn whiskey. Now, I don't watch or read anybody's reviews before I get into a bottle. I don't want to be unduly influenced by someone else's opinion. However, I did see the thumbnail for a certain Matthias Porturaton, aka Matt Porter, aka ADHD whiskey, and he seemed to have a dim opinion of this bourbon. Now again, I didn't watch the review, but I'm going to. Like immediately after filming this, I'm gonna go watch his video because I'm very curious about what he had to say. However, it did inspire me to do this review blind. Because psychology plays a huge part in how you perceive the things you smell and taste. You know, if you've already been influenced in a certain way, whether by, say, labeling or marketing or someone else's review, it's very easy to kind of find the things you're already expecting to find. So therefore, I'm going to try to do more of these reviews blind. Try to take my own biases out of the equation. And that way, you know, you guys on the internet can't blame me for when I don't like something. I mean, somebody still will, I'm sure. It's the internet. So I actually have 2 glasses in front of me, each with a different bourbon in it. One has Rare Stash, $100 bourbon, and the other is Early Times Bottled in Bond, which I think I paid around $35 for. I don't know what is what. You do, because it's on screen right now, but my girlfriend poured these for me. She wrote down which is which, and I'll find out at the end of the review. Also, Erica poured me the Early Times because this is a relatively new bottle. I'm not that familiar with it, so I shouldn't be able to pick it out compared to the Rare Stash. And it's a relatively solid, but relatively cheap bourbon, so it should make for a good control to compare the Rare Stash to. So by doing this blind, we'll find out, is Rare Stash actually worth that $100 price tag? Or is it more akin to our more value-friendly friend over here? But without further ado, let's start with glass A, which is that. Whatever that is. A has a very cherry nose. It's a very standard sweet cherry nose. Got a little bit of sweet corn on it. A little bit of sweet corn. Not bad, not bad. There's a touch of something a little bit more tropical, I would say there. Kind of like a little bit of a mango. Like a touch of mango. Just a little bit of like underripe mango. Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's not a note you find too commonly in bourbon. It's also got a little bit of a grassy, hay-like quality. So, not bad. Not bad. I like that. And just a hint of tea. Like a little bit of like an Earl Grey tea. Just a little itty-bitty bit of that vegetal kind of slightly bitter kind of smell. So on the taste, this is a pretty standard bourbon. It's not excessively sweet. It's more like a leathery, kind of tobacco-y kind of bourbon with just a hint of caramel. Just a hint of caramel. And maybe just a touch of dark chocolate. Just a little touch of that bitter dark choco. Yeah, I like that. I like that because this is more dry than a lot of bourbons. A lot of bourbons, for me anyway, as a rye drinker, they get a little sweet. They get a little overly sweet. That mixture of corn and the new charred oak tends to get a little too vanilla caramely for my taste sometimes. This, a little bit more tobacco, a little bit more of that kind of leathery, kind of dry, spicy thing going on there. I dig it. I dig it. But what about glass B, which is that, whatever that is? So the nose on B has a little bit more of that kind of sappy, yewy kind of nose, and that's not really my jam. I'm not big on the sappy, yewy smells. Oh yeah, I just can't get past that yewy note. There's something about like whiskeys that have a young corn component in it. You know, a whiskey made from corn that hasn't been aged really long. They always come off as that yew sap to me. You know, like you took a yew branch, you cracked it in half, and you just started licking it. Which is a thing I've never done, of course. There is a nice nuttiness here, though. It's kind of a peanutty thing. Peanuts, maybe a little touch of cashew, but I would say mostly peanuts. There's also a hint of like kind of a citrusy fruit. This really doesn't have any deep, dark fruits, you know, your cherries and your plums and your boiled fruits. This is more of a light fruit, a lemon zesty kind of smell. Unfortunately, though, it does kind of lack any of those darker, earthier spices that A had. A had that kind of Earl Grey tea, you know, kind of a hay-y, grassy spice to it. This one, a little bit more one-dimensional. But let's get a taste, hey? This one's definitely a little bit more caramely. It's got kind of a grain taste that reminds me a little bit of like a digestive biscuit, like a hobnob. Only hobnobs have chocolate on them, right? They got that nice layer of chocolate. And this guy is just the biscuit part itself. You know, it's just that. So, there's a bit of cherry on the taste. There's a little bit of kind of that oaky spice. Little bit of kind of a touch of black pepper. But overall, I'm finding B to be a lot thinner. It's a lot thinner. It doesn't have the full complexity that A did. A seemed to have it going on. B, it's a little bit thin. It's a touch bitter. And bitter isn't necessarily a bad thing. A nice bitter finish can be refreshing. However, this comes off as just a little bitter and thin and young. And that bitterness isn't on the finish, it's just kind of there. Now, I will say B is not bad. B has no horrific issues going on with it. It's not undrinkable, it's just pretty okay. A, though? I like A. A is doing some cool stuff. So I wrote it down. My winner is A. Number A, right here on my left, your right. B is coming in second. Let's find out which is which. Or you already know. I'll find out which is which. Oh no! Oh no! Oh shit! Holy crap, Early Times beat the pants off of Rare Stash. Oh my god. Yeah, Early Times beat the pants off of Rare Stash. Oh my god. I don't even remember what I paid for this bottle. It was like $30, $40? I don't know, future Eddie. Let me know what I paid for it. Holy crap. This was $100. I mean, it's not awful. It's not the worst thing in the world. I could drink this. I wouldn't pay $100 for it. I mean, I guess I already did because they didn't send out review samples. But, yeah, I wouldn't do it again. Here's the thing. If you are just looking to support Dustin Poirier and you really love Dustin and you think he's awesome and you're willing to shell out $100 for this, go for it. Do your thing, man. I'm not going to tell you not to. That said, for me, for someone who's just trying to drink and enjoy my whiskey, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy this all day. And I already know what people are going to ask, right? How does this compare to Tiger Thick? Well, my guy Matt over at ADHD, he's still got my bottle of Tiger Thick. So I can't do a direct comparison. Maybe I'll do it later just for the patrons. Yeah, I'll do that. But I gotta say, from what I remember of Tiger Thick, it was more interesting than this. Was it necessarily better? No, I don't think so. I think this is a more solid whiskey, but it's way less ambitious. It's way less ambitious. This is a pretty bog standard bourbon. Just pretty bog standard. And that's nothing against Dustin Poirier and the people behind Rare Stash. You know, I'm sure if you're happy with your product, good, cool. I gotta say though, from my perspective, this is bog standard bourbon and doesn't quite live up to the name Rare Stash. So, in that regard, I gotta say Tiger Thick was more interesting. Tiger Thick was kind of more fun. It is funky. It is funky and it's weird and it's not my cup of tea, but I'd rather drink something funky and weird and strange over something bog standard. You know what I mean? And you know what else I'll say for Tiger Thick and Brendan Schaub? Whatever you guys may think of him, he did put the mash bills on the bottle. Right on the bottle. That's awesome. These guys, they didn't tell us jack shit about what's actually in the whiskey. They didn't tell us anything. Plus, Tiger Thick was what, 80 bucks? This is 100? I'd rather pay 80 bucks for a funky, weird, interesting thing that's actually more transparent about what they're doing than collector's edition black box over here. There's no information about this. I don't care for that. One thing I do like, though, is the cork. They made a little one-piece cork. Yeah, you don't see that much. Usually people do plastic. They do a plastic and then a cork on the bottom. This is actually just all one piece of cork. I mean, it's not really like a game changer. It's not gonna make up for the whiskey, but it's a fun little piece. I like that. But at the end of the day, I guess I gotta tell you that another MMA guy's whiskey was just not that great. Is it bad? No. It's drinkable. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. It's way too expensive. It's way too expensive. So, yeah. If you're a Dustin Poirier fan, you may be getting ready in the comments to be very angry at me about this, but I gotta tell you, pass on this bottle. Pass on it. At least until they knock the price down to like 50. I think that would still be kind of expensive, but be a lot more reasonable. But of course, if you're just looking to collect bottles, you're not actually interested in drinking them, and you just want this bottle because, you know, they told you it was a limited edition, yeah, go blow your money on it. I wouldn't blame you. Do what you want. But as for me, I'm gonna finish up with my little glass of early times. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy the content. But most importantly, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay rotten. Cheers.